Welcome to Module 5, why you're absolutely, most definitely not too old for sex. If you don't need this yet, you can still learn from it and file it away in your mind for when you're older. The mythology about elder sex that will cause trouble in maturity starts at a very young age. Do you remember those conversations you had in your 20s when you were just discovering sex? The ones about grandma and grandpa or other elders? Janie says, I couldn't imagine that my grandparents still did it, not with all their gray hair and wrinkles and canes. Even thinking about my parents having sex was weird. I didn't like to think about that either. My sister and I used to whisper to each other that we were pretty sure our parents only did it 3 times, one each for the 2 of us and once for our brother. Now that I have some gray hair myself, those ideas are starting to make me nervous. It just takes reading some comments on social media to find out how many people that think that sex when you're older is vaguely disgusting or even worse. Maybe it should be illegal. Older women who flirt or act sexy with younger men may be derisively called cougars, a rather predatory sounding term. It's not much better for men once they're older than some imagined boundary. They become dirty old men. There are good studies now on some of these stereotypes, and the results may surprise many people. Sex is not only pleasurable throughout life, it's good for you. Good for your emotional and physical health. Older men and women who have a strong sexual relationship have improved cardiovascular health, less hypertension, less stress, and better psychological well-being. In short, they're happier and they feel better. But now I'd like you to hear from some real-life examples. I'll start with a quote from a book I highly recommend. It's called Naked at Our Age, Talking Out Loud About Senior Sex by Joan Price. Here's a quote from one of the book's contributors. She calls him Ben, age 69. Ben says, I'm slower to have an erection now than before, but then the enjoyment is even greater than before. We both enjoy sex more now than at any time in our lives. We both work at keeping sex exciting and enjoyable. My wife gives me oral sex until I have an erection, or I enter her while soft and get an erection afterward. Some positions make it possible to enter without an erection. We hug and I play with her breasts until I start to get hard. Many times I have an erection without ejaculating. Sometimes we'll make love for hours and my wife will have several orgasms. Our sex life is the very best my wife and I have ever enjoyed. There's no rushing to orgasm. Just go slow and enjoy the pleasure. Now, while 69-year-old Ben and his wife are wonderful role models in a way, the specifics of their story don't apply to everyone. Ben's wife seems not to have any trouble being entered. In some women, after menopause especially, or even long before, vaginal tissues may get thin and become easily painful. There are remedies for this, which I will summarize below, and which I explain in great detail in Module 8, Solving Painful Intercourse. But here's a new idea to a lot of people. Even if intercourse is not on the menu right now, any couple is still able to enjoy kissing, stroking, oral sex, giving each other orgasms orally or with fingers or vibrators. Just go slow and enjoy the pleasure. So the first thing on the path to enjoy sex in later life is to give yourself an attitude adjustment. The idea that sex is only for the young and fit is completely out of date. The fact that your kids or grandkids think you should spend your time in a rocking chair only applies if you and your partner are inventing new sexual positions there. The most serious limitations are those we impose on ourselves, such as, I lost my flat tummy years ago. I don't like to show it to my partner now. Now that kind of concern has a couple of easy solutions. First, learn the art of partial nudity. Keep something on if you feel more comfortable. Or second, Consider that your partner loves you even with your physical imperfections. He or she probably has some too. Trust me, a sex therapist with more than 25 years experience, great sex has never been about having a perfect body. I've had patients with apparently perfect bodies, and they had the same issues as everyone else, including lack of confidence. Here's another common situation. Lena says, since menopause, or it could be since turning 60 or 70 or having my operation, I just don't have the urge like I used to. The answer to this one is learning that the urge, after a certain point, needs to be evoked. That is brought out by touch and emotional closeness. It doesn't just hit you out of the blue like it did when you were younger. Once you fan the flames, though, the fire can be intense as it ever was. Here's another one. My partner is younger than I am. I just can't shake the idea that she or he is going to resent the fact that I just can't do what I used to do. So I avoid the whole business. How sad. Giving up the priceless joys of intimacy because of aging is a tremendous and needless loss. A partner who loves you will take this journey with you. Another one, Tom says, half the time I just can't get it up. That's the plain truth. I think my body is trying to tell me to forget about it. So say many, many men after a few experiences they call failure to perform. If you are one of those men, you're hearing the wrong message. Your body is trying to tell you to change your approach and your attitude. Our bodies age differently, so there's no one-size-fits-all solution to these challenges. But there are some principles that can have profound and positive effects. First of all, a sacred understanding of sexuality that I've talked about earlier in these module series, that eases the pain that we have over the losses of our youth and our youthful abilities. I talked a lot about this sacred approach to sex in the introductory modules. The summary of sacred sex is the understanding that intimate touch is an opportunity to express your loving essence. Surely 60 or 80 is just as precious an age as 30 on this amazing human journey. Lots of us humans get deeper and more loving as we age. I'm guessing that you are far more complex and capable of tenderness and compassion than you were at a younger age. Tenderness will take you a very long way on the journey towards stirring sexual experiences. If you have a life partner, I can almost guarantee that she or he will respond well to hearing that you appreciate and treasure the relationship. Intimate touch grows naturally out of that. The second principle is that openness to reinventing sex is the necessary attitude adjustment here. As I've said elsewhere, sex is not intercourse. Sex is not having fantastic erections and orgasms every time, even if you once did. Sex, in the best sense of the word, is physical closeness and physical touch of any kind, combined with emotional intimacy and sharing. As we age, we have to surrender many things. The beauty of youth changes or is just plain lost. The gorgeous kid in your high school yearbook is gone forever. The ability to run a marathon or even to keep up on the ski slope or neighborhood jogging trail declines eventually. What never declines is your ability to have an open heart and to want to share bodily pleasures with someone you treasure. If you don't have a partner, it's never too late to find one. That's another subject. In the meantime, whether you have a partner or not, please embrace and practice self-pleasuring. It will keep you young. If you do have a partner, try the experiments in the action steps coming up. And here they are. The first action step is to make an appointment with your partner to discuss reestablishing or revitalizing your sex life. When you do sit down for that first appointment, discuss setting a regular time for intimacy, any kind of intimacy. Try to set at least one time a week. These times could be as short as 15 minutes. Put them on your calendars and do your best to keep those appointments. I suggest appointments because many of us are so busy that it just doesn't happen unless it's a real appointment on our calendars. Third action step is to call those appointments pleasure times or some other name you both like, and that's the only goal, closeness and pleasure. Don't make it about intercourse and orgasms right now. Make it about physical and emotional closeness. Now here are some of the resources below that can help you do your own investigation of sex for the older generation and all the ways it's actually very good for you. You'll see that there are good studies that support my point that passion is your birthright, as long as you're drawing breath. Enjoy.